Now, usually when we discuss the Pope, it's because he said something sympathetic and he said something that's more liberal than his predecessors. So usually we're giving him credit. Today, not so much. He said the following, quote, "To kill in the name of God is an absurdity." Oh, well, thank you. "But each religion has its dignity, and there are limits." Oh, that doesn't sound good. "You cannot provoke, you cannot insult other people's faith. You cannot mock it." I beg to differ. Kind of make a living doing that. He says freedom of speech is a right and a duty that must be displayed without offending. Okay, that's not possible. You want to know why? Everything offends somebody. I've told this story before on the air because I think it's very illustrative of this point. One time I did a segment, I've done like 1 or 2 segments maybe, on something that happened in Azerbaijan. I forget what the story was. It was something like, oh, the guy who won the election got like fucking 90% of the vote or something. The most obvious stolen election in human history. I think that was one of the stories, and then there was another one. So I covered the stories, and I was like, okay, this is fucking stupid. If you're going to steal the election, make it like, I got 56% of the vote. Something reasonable. So, like months later, I get a comment on Twitter. Like, I love everything you say, but goddamn, I think you're wrong about Azerbaijan. What the fuck? Well, it turns out, of course, the person saying that was from Azerbaijan. And, oh, you offended the national honor, blah, 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 blah. Everybody's got something they hold sacred, which I think is silly. I think any real objective person is willing to say, all right, let's question all the taboos, right? But that story illustrates this perfectly. So what? Free speech has limits. You can't offend people. Okay, so I can't talk about Azerbaijan. I can't talk about conservatives anymore. Boom, that's like 70% of the show. Gone. I love how because of conservatives and Azerbaijan, that makes 70% gone. I can't talk about religion anymore. 90% of the show gone. I can't, what else do I talk about? Talk about how I like face-sitting. I had to slip it in there. I've been mentioning it too much now. Anyway. But all these things offend people, right? So what? Everybody gets to censor everybody else and nobody gets to offend anybody? And I mean, that's fucking insanity. You've set up a system where you've, like, solidified into law fascism. Like, okay, we all get to control what everyone else says. Ready? Break. Or how about no? How about the opposite of that? How about the only exceptions to absolute freedom of speech are the ones that already exist? For example, like in America, you can't do direct threats of violence, direct threats of violence that are credible, right? You're not allowed to do that. And I think that's fair. It's one of the very few things where you say, draw a line here. Libel, slander, written word, spoken word. That also, okay, we draw a little line there. Then there's the old cliche point of bomb on a plane, fire in a movie theater, yada, yada. Okay, outside of those things, have at it. Offend whoever the fuck you want, even if I fucking hate what you're saying, even if I totally disagree, even if you go out there, atheists are fucking stupid, they all have lower IQs and blah, 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 blah. I don't agree with you, so what I'll do is respond to you. I'm not going to censor you. I mean, censoring you is a punk bitch move. We spoke about this the other day. The answer to bad speech is more speech, not censoring the speech that you don't like. So, okay, you don't like what somebody says? Well, fucking respond. Go over the top of them. Say it louder. Say it more effectively. Say it in a more a clear way, in a concise way. Censoring is not the answer. And by the way, especially when you're talking about a topic like religion, why can we not use the same rules when discussing religion that we're forced to use when discussing everything else in society? Like, nobody says anything else is, out of bounds. Like, if you bring up a political opinion, well, somebody can disagree with you, and that's fine. If you bring up a life philosophy, well, somebody can disagree with you, and that's fine. If you bring up a scientific theory, somebody can disagree and try to disprove you, that's fine. If you talk about your opinions about TV or music, somebody disagrees and you can have a conversation. But if you say the magic word religion, all of a sudden people have put that in, in a lockbox in the corner where they go, we can talk about anything except that. I don't allow objectivity and credulity in that area. In that area, I don't allow criticism because I know that it's on frail grounds and I won't be able to defend it. So let's just say that if you talk about that topic specifically, you're intolerant. Really. I'm intolerant. So I'm allowed to disagree with your favorite color, your favorite song, your favorite food, your taste in men or women. I can disagree with your taste in fashion. I can disagree with everything, right? And it's fine. Hey, it's just a difference of opinion. But religion, the biggest question of all, with the deepest philosophical implications. If you disagree with me on that, no, you're not allowed to have that discussion, and you're a bigot. You're intolerant. No. Religion needs this kind of thinking and mocking more than any other area, because historically, whenever religion has been mocked, it's been for the better. When people came out and mocked religion and said, ha, the world is actually round, not flat, what happened? They were put in jail. They were put in jail, but it turns out they were right. They were right all along. If nobody had the courage or the balls to stand up and say it, then to this day, the truth would be repressed, and the church would say, you cannot offend our ideology that says the world is flat because the Bible alludes to the fact that it's flat. No, I can offend your ideology. I want to offend your ideology. It's good to offend your ideology because that's how we get to the truth. And you, by the way, have the right to offend me, and you should offend me. If I have an idea that I believe wholeheartedly and it turns out to be wrong, a good friend says, hey, dipshit, that's wrong and here's why. They don't allow me to continue with my delusion. And again, it's an area that's more ripe than any other area for mocking. So case in point, since he says I'm not allowed to offend, right? Oh, you don't have the right to offend. Freedom of speech doesn't mean you can offend my religion. Yes, it does. That's exactly what it means. And that's exactly what I'm going to do. So, take Christianity. Well, in the Bible, let's go through some of the things in there, why don't we? Men with wounded penises aren't allowed in church. But don't offend it! Do not offend it. Women can never teach men anything. But we're not allowed to disagree with that, because that would be offensive. It's not that that idea itself is offensive, and it's offensive to not go after it. No. The thing that's offensive is if you disagree with the Bible, and if you say, hey, that's wrong. They've found a way to flip it, man. They always find a way to flip it. Even a look in the Bible counts as adultery. I'm offended by that. If you disobey God, he makes you eat your babies. Stay classy, biblical story. They allude to the fact that the earth is flat multiple times. There's slavery in the Bible. There's seven-headed dragons, talking snakes. Women need to cut their hand off if they defend their man. They're not allowed to defend their man. Cursing at your parents warrants death, etc., etc. The list goes on and on. Yeah, I'm going to mock that, and I'm going to tear it down, and I have a right to do that, and we should, because those ideas are wrong. A lot of them are dumb. Not to mention the factual inaccuracies and the contradictions in the Bible and all the holy books. Take the Quran, for example. You're not allowed to disagree. Well, watch me. In the Quran, they say that cows and Jews look alike. I don't even know what that means. They say atheists are all literally, they literally have no senses. So they're all deaf, blind, and dumb. Really? I think I would be living proof that that's not true. They say that Allah turns Christians and Jews into apes and swines. That would be called magic and physically impossible. And then my favorite is, in the Quran, there are bright yellow cows. Why? Because religion, that's why. But holy book, we say stupid shit, you believe it. I mean, that should be patented by all religions.